I'm just using this space as long as I can, in fact, to make I want to make a few more of these paintings. There's one canvas there and one there, which I had a show in September which had these chewing gum paintings titled after German cities. And for instance, one of them was glow-in-the-dark paint, which is that pale green paint. So this is the first one. I just did this the other night, and this is sprayed on an aluminium panel. And then we put the gum on it. So all this is chewing gum that's been chewed by me and other people, and then squashed down on plexi sheets, and then blackened. It just came from a few years ago, like 5 or 4 years ago. I made some small chewing gum paintings, and because I just noticed the chewing gum on the pavements here.
Here in New York?
In New York, which there's a lot of, for some reason, and they're blacker here. They're not so black in London. I don't know why. And I'd been reading this book by this German writer called W.G. Sebald, called On the Natural History of Destruction. And he talked about, there was like one sentence in it about the American bombers flying over Hamburg. And I began to think of the chewing gum again. And I was thinking of the way that these marks on the pavements, there's that sort of desecration of the environment that you're in, like spitting or like shitting, and also like there are people who are dreaming. Presumably, there are right now people dreaming of New York being flattened. I mean, like literally fantasizing, and so I thought if you could take this really daily thing of these streets, I just wanted them to be random, but it's really hard to make a random pattern without composing. So I began to take photographs of the sidewalks around New York, and I've got a couple of hundred just shots of New York sidewalks and gum, some of which are kind of more dense than others. So I take a photo, and then I just mark a rectangle and decide that that's a painting. So each painting, the paintings that I showed, each one was named after a city, a bombed German city. I can't tell anyone anything of any value about the bombing of German cities. I'm not trying to represent, by titling a painting after Hamburg or Dresden or Kassel, I'm not trying to represent something. What I knew about was the difference between what I inherited culturally and then what I kind of learnt later. And in that gap between the two, that's what I thought was interesting. It's like if I can put something out there that kind of implies this weird confusion, then that's what I want to do.
Wow.
So that's what that.
Wow, that's so cool.
That's what the paint does.
That is so cool.
But I was just thinking the bombs that really did the damage in Hamburg and Dresden were phosphor bombs. They were. So cool. They were actually they weren't. Well, they were magnesium and phosphor, and so this is phosphorescent paint. Yeah. This is going to Paris. I mean, I can. And it's an obituary of Kate Moss, written just like the other ones I did, just straightforwardly as if she died today or a few months ago when it was written. I've done 9 to total. I did 7 and then I just did 2 more. They're just they're homages really to the subject. I had a part-time job writing obituaries for a paper, for the Telegraph newspaper in London, which is like a kind of annoying right-wing old newspaper in England. I stopped that job just before I came to New York in 2000, and I'd done 1 obituary of Malcolm McLaren, and then I decided to make 6 more. The obituaries are all people I like. I'm not interested in writing about somebody I don't like, because it's too much work and it's too boring and painful to write about somebody you don't care about. So they're all people I think Jeff Koons is a great artist. I mean, they're about the idea that you can change your life. Every day you make decisions to change. You make decisions every second, whether you want to have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, or whether you want to go out or stay in or sleep or get up. These are narratives of decision making. And they say to me that you can make a decision that will make your life closer to the way you want it to be. Yeah, I mean, in a way, I find...
You work to that, but that's certainly a component.
But that's one.
Yeah.
It's kind of about the same thing. I just don't want to get bored, and I don't want to. Every time I make something, I want to also undermine it.
Yes.
I think. I mean, I want to question it, or this just came from these guys who cut. Well, they make graphite for industry. We made a 3-dimensional computer drawing of an air conditioner. I've made these paintings of air conditioners, Friedrich air conditioners, where I take a JPEG of an air conditioner and I send the image to a company. I've been doing this for a couple of years. A company called mydavinci.com in China, and they make an oil painting, and they send me a photorealist painting of an air conditioner, which I stretch and hang it high, and it looks like an air conditioner. So I had this idea for graphite a long time ago, like 15 years ago, and I never researched it. And then recently I researched it and found that there's an industry in graphite, and you can get blocks of graphite. So it seemed to me that making an air conditioner in graphite made some kind of sense. It's the front, it's like 2.5 inches thick. So that is, that's cut by a 5-axis machine. I don't know, I find air conditioners interesting because they're about trying to regulate your environment. And I don't know, I find them sort of loaded in a weird way. And because the extension of that is finally what you want. The final point where you're not going to be able to regulate or control nature is when you die. I mean, at that point, nature's finally going, okay, good effort, but it's time up. But seeing this, I mean, I think it does make some weird sense. But it looks just like I wanted it to look, so that's good.